Hello everyone, welcome back to Betrayed. Thank you for being with us today. We have a completely new story to share with you, so let's get started. Lena Haddad had always believed in dedication and determination. She moved to Los Angeles from Lebanon 10 years ago with nothing but a suitcase, a dream, and a strong desire to build a better life. At first, the city felt overwhelming, with its tall buildings, constant noise, and the fast-paced crowd always on the move. But Lena was committed to succeeding. She enrolled in college and worked several part-time jobs to pay for her education. After years of sleepless nights and studying whenever she had a chance, she finally graduated with a degree in psychology. Becoming a psychologist had been Lena's dream since she was a young girl. Growing up, she had always wanted to help people, especially those struggling with mental health challenges, like her mother had. Her mother had suffered from depression, and Lena had seen firsthand how difficult it was for her to get the help she needed. Lena wanted to change that so that no one else had to suffer in silence.
Her career soon began to take off.
She found a job at a local clinic and was finally able to support herself comfortably. But still, something felt missing. She wanted to share her life with someone, a partner who could understand her struggles and dreams. That's when she met Amir. He was also an immigrant who had moved to the United States a few years before Lena, also chasing a better life. He worked in construction and had a warm smile that could brighten any room. They met at a nearby cafe one rainy afternoon, while Lena was on a coffee break. Amir was sitting at the table next to hers, reading a book. Their eyes met, and he smiled. Lena smiled back, and the connection was immediate. They started talking, and their conversation flowed easily. Amir was kind, funny, and seemed to understand Lena's journey as an immigrant. He listened closely when she shared her dreams, and he told her about his own experiences of moving to a new country, learning a new language, and adjusting to a different culture. In the following weeks, they met more often, and their bond grew stronger. It wasn't long before they started dating. At first, everything felt perfect. Amir supported Lena's career and admired her determination. They laughed together, took long walks around the city, and shared stories from their childhoods. Lena felt like she had finally found someone who truly understood her. But over time, Lena began to notice small changes in Amir. He would get easily upset over little things, like when a friend canceled plans or something went wrong at work. At first, Lena thought it was just stress from his job. After all, construction was hard work, but his outbursts began to happen more often. He would get angry for no clear reason, and his temper would flare without warning. Lena tried to ignore it, thinking it was only temporary, but the signs were there. One night, after an argument over something small, Amir raised his voice at Lena. It was the first time he had ever yelled at her, and it sent a cold shiver down her spine. Lena had always seen herself as strong, but in that moment, she felt powerless. She tried to calm him down, but his anger only grew. After that night, Lena began to question her relationship with Amir. She knew mental health issues could run deep, and as a psychologist, she understood the importance of seeking help. She wanted to support him, but Amir refused to listen. He dismissed her concerns, saying she was overreacting. "I'm fine," he would say. "You're just making a big deal out of nothing." Lena tried to be patient. She loved him and wanted to believe things would improve. But deep down, she knew his behavior was only getting worse, not better. Amir became more distant, more withdrawn. He stopped taking care of himself, and his mood swings became more intense. He would isolate himself for days, refusing to speak to anyone, and then suddenly lash out at Lena over small things. One evening, after another heated argument, Lena reached her breaking point. She couldn't ignore the truth anymore. Amir was no longer the man she had fallen in love with. He had become a stranger, someone she didn't recognize. She knew it was time to leave. The breakup was painful. Amir begged her to stay. "Please don't leave me," he said, his voice shaking. "I love you.
I'll change.
I promise." But Lena couldn't stay. She knew love alone couldn't fix the situation. She packed her things and left the apartment they had shared. She moved into a small studio apartment, and for the first time in months, she felt a sense of peace. She knew she had made the right choice. 3 months passed. Lena focused on her work, her friends, and herself. She started to feel like she was finally finding her balance again. Then, out of nowhere, Amir called. He asked to meet her, and although Lena was unsure, she agreed. When they met, Amir seemed different, calm, composed, and genuinely sorry. "I've been going to therapy," he said. "I've been working on myself. I know I hurt you, but I want to make things right. I want to marry you." Lena was stunned. She had never expected this. She thought their relationship was truly over. But there was something sincere in Amir's words that made her stop and think. Maybe, just maybe, he had truly changed. After a few weeks of talking and reflecting, Lena decided to give him another chance. They got married, and for a while, everything seemed perfect again. Amir promised to be the man Lena had always hoped for. A year later, Lena found out she was pregnant. She was overjoyed. She had always dreamed of having a family, and now that dream was finally coming true. Together, she and Amir began getting ready for their son's arrival. They decorated the nursery, bought baby clothes, and talked about the future. But soon after their baby was born, the problems in their relationship started showing again. Amir's behavior didn't get better. In fact, it got worse. He would snap at Lena for no reason, and whenever she tried to speak to him about it, he shut her out. He began drinking more often, and his mood swings became more intense and frightening. Lena tried to hold everything together for their son's sake, but it was becoming harder each day. Amir's temper was unpredictable, and Lena lived in constant fear of what might happen next. Then, one life-changing evening, everything fell apart. Amir was driving home after a night out with friends when he crashed his car. He was arrested for driving under the influence and sent to jail. Lena was heartbroken. She was left to care for their newborn son alone, and the stress started to take a toll on her. She began to suffer from her own mental health struggles, anxiety, depression, and a deep sense of hopelessness. The bills kept piling up. Lena tried her best, but it wasn't enough. She couldn't pay the rent, and soon, she and her son became homeless. They moved from shelter to shelter, sleeping on couches and trying to find a safe place to call home. It was like living a nightmare. Then, one day, a kind woman named Clara saw Lena and her son sitting on a bench outside a local store. Clara was a volunteer for an organization that helped homeless people. She saw the exhaustion and pain in Lena's eyes and walked over to offer her help. Clara took Lena and her baby to a shelter run by the organization, where they were given a safe place to stay. The shelter also provided job training, emotional support, and help with finding permanent housing. For the first time in many months, Lena felt hope. She had a chance to rebuild her life. It wasn't easy. There were days when Lena wanted to give up, but with Clara's support and the shelter's resources, she began to move forward. She found a job at a nearby clinic, and little by little, she saved enough to rent her own apartment. It took 2 years, but Lena was determined to succeed. Finally, she was able to move into a small apartment with her son. It wasn't big, but it was hers, and it was home. She had a stable job, and her son was growing up healthy and happy. Lena had learned to believe in herself again. She had found the strength to keep going, no matter how hard life got. Her journey had been long and full of pain, but she had survived. She had faced the darkest moments of her life and had come out stronger. She was no longer the woman who had once been trapped in an abusive relationship. She was a mother, a survivor, and a woman who had built a new life from nothing. As she sat on the couch with her son, watching him play with his toys, Lena knew one thing for sure. She had finally found peace.